All right. What a load of bollocks that was, wasn't it? Lovely to see you. I looked at you all. I saw you out there, and I just looked at you, especially. I thought, yeah, you've made an effort tonight, haven't you? It's a bath job, isn't it? Yeah. Before you came out tonight, wasn't it? It's one of these, because they do that. I mean, we're very careful with our money, aren't we? But we're not mean, not as mean as, well, Scotsmen are mean. Have any Scots in? I can't stand them. I can't stand them. No, Scots, but the Scots are. But Yorkshire people are even more mean. Oh, aye. Listen, Yorkshire people only breathe in. I'm telling you. But it's true, isn't it? I got you sorted tonight. I thought, yeah, before you come out to a gala like this, in this unplastered room, you have a bath, don't you? You do that, you think, I'll save up. I'll have a bath. Put the money in the immersion heater and you watch the little wheel go around, don't you, heating. And when you run your bath, you get in the bathroom. Tell me if I'm wrong. You've all done this. You get in the bathroom, bolt the door, take your dressing gown off, have a laugh. and you run your bath, and the water's in the bath, it's red hot. You could boil an egg in it. No way can the human frame stand that temperature. But you've paid for that electric. So you're having it. You're not going to cool it, you're having it, aren't you? Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm on the side of the bath, isn't it? Up with the foot. Hey? Lower the foot down, the foot goes down like this. And as soon as your foot touches... Oh, yeah. Whoa. And then you look down, and it looks like you've got a maroon sock on. Doesn't it? Now, you think that's cooled the water down, so you put the other foot in then, don't you? Oh, yeah, bastard. And all the steam's coming up, isn't it? All the steam coming up round the old head. Oh, yeah. Hey, good for us, lads. Steam on... Oh, yeah. Oh, greenhouse effect. You know, after a good bath, I can write Landudno on mine. I can. And on a cold morning, it just says Ludo. I don't know where that letter is. And then there's the next bit in there, and on the side of the bath like this, and you lower yourself down. You've all done it, haven't you? You've all done it. Down you go, and you can feel that steam coming up, can't you? Thinking, Christ, I'm not half going to burn my arse in a minute. I'm going to get 2 little burns on here. Well, us lads get 2 warning burns. Linford Christie gets a warning burn before he bends his legs. But you lower yourself down. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. As soon as your bum touches that water, it's this, isn't it? You go down and you go... I've never understood that. You burn your arse and your lungs pack up. I've never understood that. And then you lower yourself down, don't you? Saying things like, ask him, ref. Ask him. Whoa. Whoa. And what a relief when you touch the bottom, isn't it? Oh, you're sitting there, you're thinking, for Christ's sake, don't make a wave. And then you lean back, you think, I'll just put some Radox in, then I can have a pee and nobody will know. No, you see. But it's like that, isn't it? When you come to do's like this. Because you've got to be very careful now, you know. You can't just romp on about anything. You've got to be careful. You can't tell racist, sexist, feminist. You can't do any of them jokes. Like I mentioned the Scots earlier. You mustn't do that. Because that's racist. Can't do it. And any Scots people in here tonight will be mortally offended if I were to tell the story about the drunken Scotsman who got up to heaven. He knocked on the gates and St. Peter said, who's that? And the Scotsman said, it's Angus McTavish. St. Peter said, you can piss off, we're not making porridge for one. Now, you see, it's like the Welsh. The Welsh are have we any Welsh people in? I hate the bastards. I hate the bastards. More than 5, you've got a bloody choir on your hands. I was driving out of Wales on the heads of the Valleys Road, and I was in my motor car, and I saw it in this field. I looked into this field, I saw this Welshman standing in this field, a farmer, wearing green Wellingtons, standing adjacent to the sheep. And when I spoke Welsh, I said, hello, boyo. How are you down by here, is it? He said, lovely, buddy. I said, are you shearing that sheep? He said, no, get your own. Can't tell them. You can't, you've just got to be very, very careful, haven't you? And it goes in circles, doesn't it? It cycles, fashion. We've got the alternative comedians now, haven't you, where you've got to think whether it's funny or not. You've got to sit there saying, now, was that funny? Am I supposed to laugh at that or what? Have I got to be intelligent? Can I just be thick and watch basic stuff? You know. You see, we used to do, years ago. Do you remember the comedians? 1970, to make you feel your age, 33 years ago. Oh, isn't that... Where did that go? Do you remember those days? Massive star maker, that programme. Nearly as big as Hughie Green. He was a big star maker. Top spot. He's dead now, so... They'll cut some of this out, don't worry. I hope they don't cut that bit out. Hughie Green was in a bar one night, and I was standing next to him. He said, "Could you lend me tuppence? I want to ring a friend." I said, "Here's fourpence, ring them all." Now, it's fine. No, listen, what I was going to say to you, see, you've got to be careful, you see. Like, alternative, and then we've got the situation comedy, but with the old-fashioned comedy, 1970s, wonderful. Bernard Manning, do you remember Bernard? Society entertainer, children's parties a speciality. Remember Bernard? Colin Crompton, remember Colin? Combed his hair from the neck. Do you remember? And he went on to another programme. And then there was, do you remember Charlie? Charlie Williams? Lovely Charlie Williams. The only Yorkshireman never to go down the pit. We'd never have found him, would we? Come on, Charlie. Come on, Charlie. Come on, give us a smile. Where are you? Will you? See, I suppose that's racist, is it? I don't know. You see, in Blackburn, we have a lot of our ethnic brethren live in Blackburn. I used to live in Blackburn, and I came back about 3 months ago trying to find a shop, and I lost. All been pedestrianised now. We spent years tarmacking over these cobbles, didn't we? Bloody years. Charlie McAdam from Scotland, he's another one, nice chap. He invented all this black sticky stuff so we didn't break our ankles walking on cobbles. And then we get all these new fellas come, they put posts in the road to stop cars. And bloody cobbles, we're back again now, cobbles. Yeah. So, no, listen. But, oh dear. But it's absolutely true. I came back and I got lost. I found myself on this industrial estate looking for this place. And I saw this Indian gentleman walking towards me. He had all the gear on, the pyjamas and the turban and everything. And I thought, well, he's local. You know. So I said, excuse me, nice chap. I said, excuse me. He said, what are you wanting? I said, Tesco. Bloody Tesco. What's bloody? I said, Tesco. Tesco. Let me try this. That's thinking. I said, Tesco, West Indies, 114 for 5. And, see? And I got chatting to a really nice chap, a really nice guy, and I said, how's business now? Like, how are you doing with this? We had a little bit of a recession. He said, oh, business is not very good now. Had a beautiful corner shop selling everything. Beautiful corner shop. In fact, I was so good on my range of goods. I was going on Masterman next week, and my specialist subject was anoraks 1495 to 1995. I said, how's business? Oh, business is bloody bad. Business has gone down the pan. Yes. I said, well, do you know? I said, I'm doing awfully well. He said, do you know what I bought? About four months ago, I bought a Skoda motor car, second-hand Skoda XR3i, turbo, diesel, estate, roof rack extra. He said, I'm disappointed with the Skoda. I said, why are you disappointed? Well, he said, I said, how much did you pay? He said, I paid £175. I said, he said, I'm disappointed with the motor car. I said, why are you disappointed with it? He said, I'd only get to 60. I said, well, that's not bad. He said, no. He said, I live at bloody 95, he said. Now, you see, you mustn't get upset because we're only comics. We're only here for a bit. We're not here for long, are we? Do you know, before I came tonight to this room here tonight, this Thwaites Theatre, I said to the wife, sister in bed, I said, do you know what we ought to be doing here? But it's a wonderful theatre, you see, no theatres anymore. This is why this is so wonderful. We've still got to do the work in men's clubs. I did one about 5 weeks ago. It was a Catholic club, just outside Newcastle. I knew it was a Catholic club because they called the bingo numbers out in Latin, so the Protestants couldn't win. And bloody rough club it was. Oh, God, it was rough. Kate Adie was on the door. It was terrible. Awful. And Roger Cook was collecting the glasses. That's how bad it was. Well, we used to do the working men's clubs, of course. And when we did the comedians, and do you remember another guy on the comedians called Ken Goodwin? Do you remember Ken? Lovely man, wonderful man. I'm going to tell you this story. We did Blackpool last year at the Opera House. It was lovely. And Ken was on. And these stories are politically, they're so incorrect. It's not true. It's not, and I couldn't believe Ken is still doing the same act as he was doing in 1970. He's still wearing the same bloody suit he was wearing. And I watched him work, and I, as you know, I used to work for the BBC. Now, of course, I used to be president of Morecambe Football Club, so it's all going. So, I'll bet you they sack me out of the Lions next week. They will, I'll tell you. So, but it's absolutely true. And Ken went on. I talk about innocent comedy, and it's all we're only comics. And I'd just left the Beeb, and I was on the Sunday night, and Ken walked on stage, and I couldn't believe what he did. He'd done the same every week, and we'd never noticed. He walked on stage, and do you remember he used to say, "Settle down now." You remember? "I'm too good for this place. I get fed up after a bit, you know." You remember? And he did this guy. He said, "I went to this woman's house. I knocked on the door. She said, 'What do you want?' I said, 'Do you believe in free speech?' She said, 'Yes.' I said, 'Can I use your phone?' He said, 'It's rubbish, isn't it?' But then he went on. And this is only last year. And he was full, the opera. He said, he said, 'I was very big abroad, you know. I was very popular in Pakistan.' He said, 'I was so popular in Pakistan, thousands of them have come over here to watch me.' I said, and then he said, and then he carried on. I thought, what's he saying? He said, 'I've got some bad news for people who live in Birmingham. Bus fares have gone up 2 rupees. He's only, for goodness sake. And we all have favourite comics, don't we? And well, let's go from the comedians, 1970s. About 1975, we got a programme called The Wheel Tappers and Shunters. Do you remember that? Because Colin Crompton, do you remember? He had the fire bell, didn't he? All the way around the room, thank you. Pies have come. Come on their own. Next week's turn is nailed up on the door. And the notice outside the gents, wet paint. This is not an instruction. And you see, when we do gigs like this, they're lovely, they're marvellous, because we come on, we've got sound engineers, got all the business. But you see, we did the working men's clubs. They used to have a concert secretary, you see. Now, and it was only like a temporary appointment. Now, I have nothing against joiners, but if you put them in a box full of electrics and they're in charge of all the electrics and the sound, you imagine our career's in their hands. And they sit there, and it's their week of power. They're sitting there pressing buttons and things while you're on. I've been on sometimes, and maroon curtains like that have closed behind me. I've thought, well, that's as near a cremation as you're going to see tonight, you know. I've been on some nights and the crystal ball started turning round. I've thought, hello, are they going to dance to these gags? What's going to go on? And the other one, of course, Norman Collier made a fortune out of it, was the microphone. Because they used to have these switches, did these concert secretaries, pressing buttons, and suddenly we were going, goody, and thank you. And we didn't know. When it came to the bingo, it was ridiculous. High down, in. 3, 8, 5. All and 5. Everybody's going, what the And then, you see, there were the days of the clubs, the 70s and 80s, and we had fashion gags. Gags were in and out. Political, satire, that came in. But, of course, gone are the days of lovely Les Dawson. Remember Les? Yeah. Wonderful. He used to tell jokes about mother-in-laws. But, you see, old-fashioned, passé mother-in-laws, because you're marginalising an element of society. You see, but you're not. See, mother-in-laws are glad to be talked about on stage, because nobody else will talk to them in the real world. See? Les used to tell this story about this chap, Tommy Wilkinson. He got a phone call, lived in Preston. He got a phone call. He said, "Is that Mr. Wilkinson?" He said, "Yes." He said, "It's the Fleetwood Coast Guard here." He said, "Where's your mother-in-law?" He said, "It's funny you should mention that. I haven't seen her for a while." He said, "Well, this is the Fleetwood Coast Guard, and she's been washed up here on the beach at Knott End." Oh, he said, "Well, at least we know where she is." No, listen. And the Coast Guard said, "We do have a problem. There's 6 lobsters attached to her. And we're not quite sure what to do with them." And Tommy said, "There's no problem. You have 3. I'll have 3, and set her again on the next tide." But you see, You can't do them, can you? You can't, because it's marginalising. It's like people who have a little stutter, like the bloke who stammered, went to the fish and chip shop. He said, "Can I have fish and ch-ch-ch-ch?" And the cat flew at him. You see, you can't, can you? I mean, just ask yourself this question. If Turkey was attacked from the rear, would Greece help? You see? I'm just asking the question, that's all. It's like... I'm sorry, I'm spitting on you, Margaret, I'm sorry. My favourite comedian, I don't know how you were, a lot of you guys, because you're a fairly young audience tonight, but I said that gritting my teeth. Do you remember Max Wall? Yeah. Wasn't he? Hey, something else for me. Something else. Bloody crackers, wasn't he? The wheel was going round, but the gerbil had left the cage, hadn't it? Eh? Hadn't it? Bloody crackers. Wonderful comedian, ahead of his time, you know. And he used to hate the audiences. He'd been in the business so many years, and he'd had some setbacks. Do you remember, in the 50s, he ran off, he left his wife with Miss Morecambe. Do you remember it? Do any of you remember it? And society shunned him. Now, they give him a children's television programme to present. You know. But then, you see, we had standards then. We said, no, we're not, you know, you can't do that. Public eye, running off with having the old dip your breath. Can't have that. Off you go. Head to the nunnery and come back through to the finals. You know, you couldn't do that. So Max he was a bit bitter, but he came back, he fought his way back, very funny man. And he used to walk on, if you remember it, he used to have a pair of black tights on, do you remember? And with a bald wig. He had hair underneath, a bald, and he used to walk on like this. Hello? Yes? And he used to hate the audience. He was bitter about the business. I watched him one night, and he was in the wings. This is absolutely true. He's in the wings, and I was standing back there, and I could hear him, he building himself up to get on, and he's saying, "I get the bastard now, sort of. Get out." I said, "Black Swan. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, nice to see you. Wall's the name. You've probably heard of my father, the Great Wall of China. He was a brick. A brick, madam. And my brother Walter, he was in carpeting. Walter Wall, carpeting." And he used to do this act. And he died on his arse every night. No, but he was ahead of his time. He used to go on and he used to threaten. "Yes, Wall, Max Wall's the name. I'd like to leave you with a poem." "Yes, a poem." And by now he's hating. He's going, "A bloody poem I'm going to say now." "Yes. In the Garden of Eden lay Adam, carelessly stroking his madam. Loud was his mirth, for he knew that on earth there was only one pair, and he Adam." He used to tell that. But no, absolutely crackers. Wonderful comics, wonderful comics. I remember, do you remember a guy called Leslie Welsh? Now, some of you will, and for those of you at home, he was a guy, the memory man, yeah, he was a guy, he used to come on, this is how naive we were, weren't we naive? When you think, a man used to come and sit behind a desk on a chair like this, and he used to answer questions. He was top of the bill in a variety show. He said, "Ask me any question on sport." And people would go, "Who won the Derby in 1920? And he'd tell them. And people would sit there for 20 minutes listening to this. We were bloody crackers, weren't we? But my generation were even dafter than that. You know, we had colour telly, then black and white telly, and then we had telly when it was always winter. Do you remember that? Yeah. You used to stand outside with a wire coat hanging. Round a bit, hold it. Do you remember? And before that we had radio, the greatest earth shrinker ever radio. Never mind your www/ come up your into thing. Never mind that. Radio. Greatest earth shrinker there was. And we had a programme on the radio. We had a ventriloquist on the bloody radio, for God's sake. Hey? You can't get thicker than that, can you? I used to sit with my dad watching the radio in Clayton Moors. I'm saying to my dad, "He's good, this fella." Eh? Peter Brough and Archie Andrews on the radio. And the dummy still said Gollocks. Now that's terrible. Eh? What are we talking about? I'm going to tell... Where's David? Come on, David. We'll do a bit of fun with you, I'll tell you. I've been, over the years, been very privileged to work in some nice venues, and I worked on QE2 for many, many years. And one year we had Max Bygraves. The reason that was prompting me to do this, Max Bygraves was discovered on the Peter Brough and Archie Andrews show. There was him, Hattie Jakes, Tony Hancock, some more. There was some more anyway. They're all dead now. So who? Julie, good. Julie Andrews. You've just won a penthouse in Baghdad. It was a penthouse, it's now a ground floor flat, but you can have it. You're absolutely right, yeah. I mean, where is he, the Barmy bastard? David, come in here. We had Max Bygraves, and we had him doing the show. Now, I'd never seen Max. He's about 107 now, he's Max. But looks 55, sod him. He looks brilliant. Now, all I'd ever seen Max Bygraves do was make a complete balls up of Family Fortunes. Do you remember that? Big money. That's all I'd ever seen him do. And I thought, he's got to entertain 1,000 passengers on the ship on QE2. These are captains of industry who've paid £6,000-7,000 to go on a cruise. Not nutters, not dipsticks. Very intelligent people paid all this money and come on to be entertained, you see. And Max Bygraves, he walked on the stage in a immaculate white suit. Looked about 60. Wonderful figure. And he walked up to the stage like this. And he began to entertain you. And I thought, what is he going to do? He can't sing, he can't... What can he do? How's he going to entertain? And I'm going to stop now till the piano player comes back. He's pissed off now because he's sulking, because that was a mess. Where have you bloody been, you bloody rag-arse? You've been in the toilet? Have you got Montezuma's Revenge? You've been in there for 3 hours. Listen, we're doing Max Bygraves. We're going to do Max... Sit on that one. He thinks I'm singing now. Now I'm going to do that thing they did with, yeah. Remember this? Stop a minute. Right, that's it, bollocks. Come on, let's get off. We're going home now. He didn't listen. This is what he did, and he stood there. And these people have paid £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 for a cruise, and they just had dinner, and they sat there in the dress all like this. And he came and says, "Here we go," and he did this, and I couldn't believe what I heard. Give me the first note. There's a tiny house by a tiny stream, where a lovely lass had a lovely dream, and the dream came true quite unexpectedly in You balmy buggers, what is the matter with you? You what? You paid £6,000 to go on a bloody cruise. He did another one and worse than that. Listen, and they're all sat there, all people, decision makers, politicians, leaders of the... And then he did another. I'm a pink toothbrush. And they brought the bloody toothbrushes. It's ridiculous. Oh, dear. Oh, funny days. And we did the clubs, and then we cruised a lot, and the stories are endless, you know. And we have, like, favourite stories and favourite comedians. But did any of you do you remember Opportunity Knocks? You'd have tellies then, with Hughie Green, who I briefly, sadly mentioned, right, whose father was some soldiers, right? Now, Hughie Green was an absolute tosspot. He was a wicked man. But on television, as a television presenter, he was the best ever. There's never been anybody better than Hughie Green. And all the camera crew used to hate him. Everybody hated him because they wanted him to get it wrong. He went live every Monday night, 20 to 7, went live. Do you remember it? Opportunity Knocks. Opportunity Knocks. Hughie Green, let's hear it for the nurses. Do you remember all that? And I used to do warm-ups. That's when I told him to get all his friends a drink for fourpence, right? And this particular day, Gibbons a terrible time, and a guy called Len Martin used to give him all the list of the acts, and he used to come in at 6:20, right, on the night of the broadcast, and he's on at 20 to 7. He just used to get out of his big car. OK, let's see what we got on here. We've got a girl singer, yeah, fine, and a juggler, and boom, and that's it, right? And that's confidence for you to go out. He's going out to like 12 million, only 2 channels, you see. And this particular day, we watched this guy walking around the studios all day with a Mac on. And we all knew he was on the show, but nobody liked to ask him what he did. Because he had a Mac on and he was wearing a flat cap and... So, anyway, I chatted to that, so we don't know. Anyway, Len Martin, Huey walked in 6:20, as usual. OK, Len, what have we got? And I got this to Harry Empwhistle from Huddersfield. What's he do? Well, he said he's got a dog. He's got a what? He says he's got a dog. He said, what's he going to do? He says, it's a singing dog. What's he going to sing? He said, well, he'll tell you. OK, let's do it. So, no problem with Huey. No problem at all. First act went on, interviewed him, went off. Second act, on, off. Third act, Huey sat there, do you remember? And the next guest used to come and sat down. And this guy sat there with his Mac on, with his little Yorkshire Terrier. Tucked under his arm like this, you see. He said, OK, where are you from? I'm Huddersfield, Huey, half from Huddersfield. And what are you going to do for a song? I'm going to sing, my dog's going to sing for you, Huey. He's going to sing that Gracie Fields hit, Sally. OK, let's hear it for him. And he stands up, and I looked at the dog, and you can tell with Yorkshire Terriers whether the dogs are not. Because everything they've got is exaggerated. And I looked at the back of this dog, and I thought I was quite envious. It was a dog. There were two things telling me. In fact, I think he could have got Sky Digital on there, maybe stuck it out. So he went to the side of this is all live, and he brought a stool onto the stage and put it on the mark, right? And it was one of those laboratory stools if you did, when you went to school, with a hole in the middle, or a bar stool, you know, you get a hole in the middle and move it. And he put it down, and there's a hole in the middle of the stool, you see. And he put the dog... Wait. He put the dog on the stool, and the dog's... I think the dog's ears dropped. I thought, now, this dog has been here before, you see. He put the dog, so the dog's equipment was, like, over the hole in the stool, you see. And Harry just came and stood under, and put his hand under the stool. And secured the dog by its equipment. Now, girls, let me tell you, a male of any species, if he's secured by his tackle, he will sing. And he'll sing in any pissing key you want him to. Right? So he got hold of the dog there, and a little tear ran down the dog's thing. And Uncle Bob Sharple started, cheedy, and he just went, and the dog went, ow. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, ow, ow. And when he got to the middle, he went, ow, 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 ow. Anyway, the dog won. And Freddie Starr came second. Now, well, you always talk about the Americans, don't they? Talk about Blackpool, you talk about your holidays going away. We've many happy weeks in Blackpool. We used to stay at Norbreck. No, not Norbreck, the North Bank private hotel. It was £7 a week for the whole family. Use of Cruet extra. You remember that? And if you wanted a bath, it was £1. And you paid the £1 for the plug, the bath plug. And then you went back and gave the plug back to get your £1 back. Oh, I remember we used to go, and honestly, some of the things in Blackpool you see. And the Americans, just have to look, they were quite confident. We always found the Americans, do you find them confident, aren't they? Really positive guys, you know, yeah, hi there, have a nice day. And we're a bit sort of introverted, aren't we? This American chap, he arrived in Blackpool at the North Pier. Well, not North Pier, the North Station, which was at the top of the Talbot Road, you know, going down to the North Pier. Do you remember when Blackpool had 3 stations? Right. So he got off and he had the hat on and the big Texan shirt, and there's this Blackpool cabbie there with one of these Austin All-Agros sitting there. Right, a brown one it was. And the American came on and said, say, you a cabbie, you a taxi driver? I am. Okay, I want you to show me the sights. Will you show me Blackpool? I never seen Blackpool. I've heard it's the height of entertainment here in the north. I said, get it back. He gets in there back and he's in the front, taxi driver, cap on, smoking the woodbine. Now, he's going down the prom and they pass the Derby Baths. Do you remember the Derby Baths? And the American says, what's that yellow building there, that marble struck? What's that there? That's Derby Baths, that lad. It's Olympic-sized swimming pool. Diving boards are right good. Good. He said, when was that? That was built in 1928, he said. 1928 that was built. The American said, how long did it take him to build that? He said, I know how long it took because my granddad worked on it. It took him 18 months. And the American said, I tell you, boy, in the States that would have been built, I would have said in about 9 months. Oh, aye. So they drove and they're going down the prom, and I turn around and they see the North Pier. And the Americans say, what's that steel structure there going out with the building on the end there? What's that? It's North Pier, that lad. That was built a lot of years ago. I say a lot of years. Built in Victorian time. Cast iron, that goes down to the bottom. How long did it take him to build that? He said, I know, because I looked it up at the library. It took him 4 years. 4 years. God, he said, we'd have built that in about 12 months. He carried on down the prom, and they just passing Blackpool Tower, and the American said, what's that thing going up there into the sky? And the cabbie said, I don't know, it wasn't there yesterday. It's funny, you know, talking then to Donald, you know, when we go into the loo, it's not sort of toilet humour, it's just life. When you go to the loo, there's no problem for the girls when you go, because it's private, isn't it? You've got cubicles, haven't you? You go in and shut the door, and nobody knows. Nobody knows. You can sit there and play God Save the Queen if nobody knows who's doing it. When you come out, you just say, it was her in that one, it wasn't me, you know. See, when we go to the gents, we've got, like, stalls, haven't we? And there's no privacy when we go to do it. No, we go in and we just stand and, and cover them up. You know, if we've had a few, it's head on the chrome pipe. and we, you know, we cover them up, because that's the only bit of privacy we've got, covering them. I was in this night, and this fella walked in, and when he said, all right, I said, all right, and when he, I looked over, I thought, oh, my goodness, I lost the raffle here, I don't know what's going on there. Because the size, it's something to do with the size of your feet, you know. My feet are a bit cramped in these shoes. But I looked at this fella. I was embarrassed. I hope I'm not embarrassing you now, but it's true. I looked over. I said, he said, what? I said, you're a big lad, aren't you? He said, how do you mean, big lad? I said, well, you've got 4 fingers round it, you know. He said, well, you've got 4 fingers round yours. I said, I know, but I'm pissing on 3 of them. I said, no, but you can't tell them, because it's naughty, isn't it? It's like the woman went to the doctor and said, excuse me, doctor, it's my bust. The doctor said, pardon? She said, my bust. He said, well, take your sweater off and let me have a look at you. So she took her sweater off and she was standing there wearing this Tupperware bra. Didn't do a lot for him, but it kept him fresh. And he said, how can I examine your he said, take your bra off. So she took her bra off, and as she took her bra off, one of them went like a slate layer's nail bag. And the other one, perfect. The doctor said, look, he said, how's that got like that? She said, don't do that, she said, I get a headache. Well, he said, how's it gone, lads? This one's beautiful, that one's horrendous. That's how she said, it's my husband. He's obsessed with my left one. It's the only one he bothers with. Every night when we go to bed, the doctor said, but I've been happily married 25 years, and I've got a favourite one, and my wife's a normal. She said, I know, but we sleep in bunk beds. He said, no, we can't tell them. Can't do them. No, don't start clapping. You'll have me doing the club act. I've got all sorts of stuff on there. I've got these 2 friends of mine, Fred and Harry, and they lived it for a while. They lived just outside, towards Haslington. And then they moved to Barnsley. Just the 2 of them, no ladies in their lives. There was nothing untoward about it. They were quite, none of that. They were all right. I was telling you one the day before, one of the bloody press out there tonight, one of them collared me on the way and he said, are you gay? I said, I mean, not even happy. I said, don't talk to me about that. It's funny now, isn't it? A lot of that going on, you know. In Emmerdale, have you seen Emmerdale? Oh, I'm looking for a bloody animal on the farm. I haven't seen one for years. Yeah. Do you know, if I saw a cow on there, I'd have to turn the bloody thing off. I couldn't handle it. Oh, it's wicked. So these Fred and Harry, two lovely chaps, and they lived in Barnsley. And they moved from this area, and they both had a slight speech defect. One of them used to talk like that. He used to talk like that. And the other one stammered a little bit. Freddie stammered a bit, and Harry used to talk like that. And they lived in Barnsley, in this house. And one day, this letter came through the letterbox. And Harry went down, and he opened it. And he went back upstairs. It was a flat over the shop. And Fred was sitting in the chair. And Harry said, "Oh, Ted, look at Ted. We got this letter from a solicitor. It did in London. It read to Ud. I'm reading it now. It looked like we'd been left to money in a will. It said here we've got to go to London to collect the money, and we to go down and collect the inheritance which somebody had left us." Fred said, "Well, you've." He said, "I'll go down. I'll go down to London and see the solicitor, and I'll give him the letter, and he'll give us the money, and then I can bring it home, and we can have a pit-up." So Fred said, "Well, he said, I'll go down. I'll go down on the train into Titty." He said, "And when I get to London, I'll find it and see the money." So he went down on the train, he went down Lincoln's Inn, he got there, he found the solicitors, Mr. Barnes-Fart and Farquharson. And he knocked on, and the chap opened the door and said, "Yes, good morning." He said, "I come down," he said, "my name's Harry, and you sent this letter. It came through the port this morning, first class delivery. Through. And it said here, we've been left to money. And I've come down to give you this letter so I can collect it." So this is let me read. He said, "Yes." He said, He said, "I'm sorry, there's been a complication." He said, "Complication? How do you mean complication?" "Well," he said, "I'm sorry, there's been a rupture in the bill of probate. And until we get the legacies together, no one can have any money." "Oh, Todd in hell," he said. He said, "Does that mean there's no money to take home?" He said, "I'm afraid not." "No," he said, "we were going to have a pit-up in Barnsley tonight." He said, "I'm sorry, you can't." He said, there's a complication." "Oh," he said, "Right-o." So he gets on the train, goes back to Barnsley, goes back that night, walks into the flat. Fred's there, he's sitting there. He said, have you got the money?" "No," he said, "our buddy will haven't." Oh. "Have you not?" "Why not?" He said, "There's been a complication." He said, how do you mean complication?" "Oh," he said, "somebody else involved. Somebody told Bill probate." And apparently he ruptured himself. And until they get his legs and knees together, there's nobody getting a fucking penny. You can't tell them, can you? You've got to be careful with them. Oh, I tell you, I must talk to you. We've done that. I'm just thinking, I must tell you this. I had to do all this because I wanted to get stuff in. These gypsies in Leicester. This gypsy, the boss of the family, said, "We're going to lead a respectable life." That was the word I was looking for before they missed all that other before, right? "We're going to lead a respectable life." So they bought this house, they settled down, and they sent the lad to school. He said, "Now go to school," he said, "and never be ashamed of being a gypsy. Never be ashamed of it. We're a proud gathering of people. We're a proud gathering, proud group." So he goes to school the first day, and he comes home. His dad said, "How did you do?" He said, "I had a good day today." He said, "We did arithmetic." He said, "And we did the times tables, 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are 6. I said, "I knew 2 12s, 24. He said, "That's good. That's good." He said, "Well done." He said, "Is that because I'm a gypsy? Or is it because I'm intelligent?" He said, "No, that's because you're intelligent." He said, "But never be ashamed of being a gypsy. We're proud," he said. He went the second day, came home, his dad said, "How did you do?" He said, "Well today, Dad, with English." He said, "I did the alphabet, I was good, I got up to J, K, I did them all." He said, "That's good." He said, "The teacher was really pleased with me." He said, "Is that because I'm intelligent?" "No," he said, "because you're intelligent. But never forget your roots. Never forget your roots. You're a gypsy." He goes the third day and he comes home. He said, "How did you get on?" He said, "A good day today, Dad. A really good day. Right good time. We did sport. And I run around the field and I did all relay race, high jump and everything. We got in the showers." He said, "It was a bit embarrassing, really, because we all had to shower. It was a long shower. We all had to take our clothes off and shower and that. And I felt a bit embarrassed because they're all looking at me, and I seemed to have, like, won the raffle again. You know, oh, he said, is that because I'm intelligent or because I'm a gypsy? He said, no, that's because you're 28. Now, listen. Are we on that one? We're going to sing. We're going to sing now, Harold. We're going to do a little song. This is a song we did yonks ago. I'll sing the first bit, and you just do the, and you'll know the words. But let's have the roof off. Right. A bold hippopotamus was standing one day on the banks of the cool Shalimar. He gazed at the bottom as it peacefully lay by the light of the evening star. Away on a hilltop sat combing her hair his fair hippopotamine maid. The hippopotamus was no ignoramus and sang her this sweet serenade. The fair hippopotamus he aimed to entice from her seat on the hilltop above. As she hadn't got a ma to give her advice, came tiptoeing down to her love. Like thunder the forest re-echoed the sound of the song that they sang as they met. His inamorata adjusted her garter and lifted her voice in duet. Mud, mud, glorious mud, nothing quite like it for cooling the blood. So follow me, follow, down to the hollow, and never to follow in glorious mud. Now more hippopotami began to convene on the banks of the river so wide. I wonder now what am I to say of the scene that ensued by the Shalimar side. They dived all at once with an ear-splitting splosh, then rose to the surface again. A regular army of hippopotami, all singing this haunting refrain. Up we go. Wonderful. Come on, let's hear. Nothing quite like it for cooling the blood. So follow me, follow, down to the hollow, and there let us glory, glorious love. Give yourself a round of applause. Very good. You're really lovely. Was it those digs we stayed in Blackpool? Oh, the landlady said, but just outside Blackpool, Bispham, you're Bispham. We stayed in these digs when we were doing this one and a half man tour. And the landlady, she was bloody terrible, wasn't she? Do you remember? Every meal, breakfast, lunch, salad. Come down in the morning for breakfast. No crunchy cut, none of that. Lettuce, cucumber. Lunch, tea, salad. Coming at night, we thought, well, we'll get a biscuit. No, cucumber. That's it. Every day salad. We were fed up with it. It got to the Thursday, she'd bring our tea in before we did the gig, wasn't she? She'd bring the tea in. She dropped a fork on the floor. She said, oh, that's a sign of a stranger coming. I said, I hope it's the pissing butcher. And we saw that drunk. That was funny that night. It was the same week. This drunk was trying to get from Bispham down to Fleetwood. He was trying to get home. It was pouring down. The rain coming. And he's soaked. He's into the wind like this. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, right? And he's against the wind like this, stoned out of his brain. And there's this last tram going back to Fleetwood, 1 o'clock going back to the depot. And this tram driver sees this chap on the side of the track trying to get through. So he thinks, I'll take a pity on him, you know. He's obviously drunk in the worst way. So he stopped the tram and he opened the door. He said, Fleetwood? And the drunk said, straight on. You can't do that, can you? Oh, dear. I'll tell you this little tale. It's one we do on the dinner circuit. And I'll keep it fairly tight because I promise you'll be down for 10 o'clock, and you will. We did Bullseye for, 15 years, 1980. It started in 1994. It finished. And the first year we did it, it was crap. It set the industry back 20 years. Oh, and in 1994, when we finished, it was still crap. We just drove home in a Bentley and bollocks to you. That's what we did. No, but it really is absolutely true. Wonderful story. And we used to bring them in. And when it was really big, the series was massive, late 80s, early 90s, one year we had 64,000 people applied to get on the programme. 64,000. A lot of these letters were written in crayon. Because where they came from, they weren't allowed to use sharp instruments. So we didn't bother with them. But the selection was fairly critical. And what we used to do, we used to bring 6 pairs of contestants in on a Monday, and Monday through to the following Friday, 13 nights. We did 2 shows a night with 6 pairs, you see, 3. And we got the whole year's television in 2 weeks, right? Blocked them off. So we did them in May. So September it started transmissions, they ran through to March, and that's how we did it. And so every day from the Monday through, towards the end of May, we used to bring 6 pairs of contestants in at lunchtime, and we used to take them through the whole game. The floor manager said, right, you stand here, you sit there, you throw the darts, you do and all that, you see. They all knew that the star prize was worth then, in the early days, £6,000. That's all we were allowed to spend. That was it. Ceiling, you see. They were fairly certain it was going to be a speedboat. Yeah, remember that? And we always used to make sure that when the people won the speedboat, they lived in Walsall. Because that's as far away as you can get from the sea. Because we didn't like them winning. Now, the producer we had was a wonderful man. He was a little bit light on his feet, but a lovely chap. Good friend of mine. Peter Harris, he now directs 15 to 1, Bill Stewart's thing, right? So we used to bring, keep ahead of the game now, 6 pairs of contestants, rehearse the whole shebang through, everything from 1 till 4 o'clock. And then at 7 o'clock, we invite an audience, similar to yourselves, and then we do the game. First, with the first 3 pairs of contestants, we play the game, and then the second 3. And they've seen the game, they've seen the cameras, they've got used to it, all that business, see? Right, we're there this particular day, and it's the second day into the run, I think. And I'm up in the gallery, which is where the boys are up there with the monitors, watching all the screens with the contestants going through the game. Because once we've started to record a programme, we can't change the contestants. If we got a couple of tosspots in, right, and we started to record, we can't suddenly say, you're a pair of wankers, off you go. We get 2 more in. You can't do that. So we've got to trust the selection process. So we're watching them rehearse this particular day. I'll never forget it. Harris is there, up there with the Frasers there, and we see we've got 2 guys from Belfast on. Now, this is not in any way marginalising the Irish. This is a true story. So we're watching them, and they don't want to be there, honestly. They really don't want to be there. You can see them saying, right, I stand here, is it? Right, what? Where do I go now? Oh, Christ. Shit. Am I the dart player? What's he? Who's... Harris is looking at me. He says, look at those 2 bloody people there. He said, they're bloody shitting themselves. He said, if we have them on tonight, they'll freeze. We'll lose a programme. And it was costing us about 80 grand to do a programme then, which was a lot of money then in the early 80s. He said, what can we do? He said, they're going to bloody freeze. I said, well, look, why don't we get them pissed, give them 200 quid, and tell them they came second? He said, we can't do that, we'll have to leave it. So we left it. So we left them in. So the audience came in the evening, they're all sat there, right? And sat in the 3, you remember the 3 pairs at the bottom? Here's your host, just do the bullseye music for us there, David. Just play it. You come a bit louder than that. Bullseye. And here's your host, Jim Bowen. And I used to walk down the steps. Do you remember? Walk down 3 steps. Used to read the imaginary letter, because nobody ever wrote to us. And I got to the bottom, and I turned, and I saw these 3 people, 3 pairs of contestants, right? The 2 Irishmen were the first pair, one sitting, and that guy standing next to him with his hand on his shoulder. And I turned, and I now know what blind panic is. I'd never ever seen it before. They're looking out like that, like rabbits with headlights. I said, good evening. What? What? I said, where are you from? And this guy's answering the questions, right? I said, where from? I said, I live next door to him. So I thought, well, I said, and where do you live? He said, I live right next door to him. So I lose the interview, right? So I think, I've got to keep them, can't change them, so I moved on. The next couple, 2 Barnsley miners, no problem. And the third couple, a married couple from Maidstone in Kent, right? We played the game. Boom, first round, the 2 boys, fortunately, from Belfast, they go. We get rid of them in about a minute. And they've won £20. Remember that, £20. They've gone, right? Then we come to the commercial break, and you remember there we used to lose the second couple, who were the 2 Barnsley miners. They've gone, now remember, this is mid-80s, with £640 in the mid-80s to miners in North Yorkshire, South Yorkshire as well. That was a lot of money. They've gone with £640. Commercial break, do you remember that? After the break, I came back, I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's a charity throw. And we got Eric Bristow on, and he got 65 with 9 darts, wanker, get rid of him. He's gone. And then we've got the couple, the winning couple, the couple from Maidstone in Kent, charming couple. I said, now then, you've got a board there, keep out of the black and in the red. Nothing in this game. You got it, right. So they go to the board and they throw, and they get 8 of the 9 prizes. Serious loss, this to us, right? So they come back and stand there. I said, right, you have won, and I read it out. Your video cassette recorded 2 mountain bikes, weekend in Paris, worship, there you go. And you've got £720. Would you like to gamble that for tonight's star prize, which is hiding behind Bully? And I know, this instance, it's a car, right? So I'm standing there, and I'm not allowed to help them. I've got to stand like this. I said, what would you like to do? So they said, Jim, no, we're fine. We've had a night. Thank you very much. We'll take the money, and we'll take the bloody bendy Bully. You remember that bloody thing that was? And the Ratner's tankard, and the plastic darts. And he said, right, there you are, you have your prizes. We'll get up, boom, off they went. The band played, tiddly-doo-doo-doo, boom, off they go. And then I look at my board, and I bring back Tommy's fans back from Barnsley. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, our couple from Maidstone have gone, happy with what they've won. Let's bring back our couple from Barnsley, the 2 Barnsley miners, see what they're going to do with the money. So the band plays, and they come on, these 2 Barnsley miners, with 64 tenors in their hand. Now imagine, this is South Yorkshire with all the troubles, right? They walk on with this money. I'll never forget it. To me, at the mic like that. Yeah. Now, one of the perks of being on Bullseye was, in the front row of the audience, we allowed friends and relatives of the contestants to sit, because they might want to give them a word of encouragement or a little word of advice. You know, something simple like, take the fucking money! So the 2 Barnsley miners walk on with this money, and they're standing there like that. And this is absolutely true. And I'm looking at them, and they've got their money there. I said, all right, lads. He said, oh, all right, Jim, I said, how much you get? £640. I said, do you want to gamble that £640 for tonight's star prize, which I know is a car, or do you want to keep the money? Now, Tony Greene, is about where that gentleman is off camera, and he's saying to me, they'll do it. They're both county players. 101 or more, right? To gamble to win the car. See? So they're standing there, and all the wives are saying, get off! Keep them, get off! But after what Scargill had done to them in South Yorkshire, you know, that was a fortune. You know, Scargill went to be circumcised, you know, around that time. And when he was on the table, the surgeon said, we can't do that with this man. There's no end to this prick. But they had this... Can we cut that out? And... So they're standing there, and the wives are saying, get off. And they were quite right, because, I mean, under pressure, it's a lot to get 101. So they said, no, Jim, we're all right. Well, we've had a good do. We'll take us money, go home. Oh, well, get home, I'll take money. So they left, right? And then I could see where that gentleman is, just off Tony Greene, starting to laugh like a drain. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at my camera. I said, why is he laughing? There's nothing funny about this. And then I say, oh, Christ, Seamus, I've got to bring these two guys from... They've got to come back, right? So I carry on. I said, ladies and gentlemen, you remember about 20 minutes ago, the two guys from Belfast hadn't done awfully well, but let's see what they're going to do on tonight's edition of Bullseye. And nobody comes on. Nobody comes on. And I'm standing there like, I wait. And then, now let me tell you, behind those dartboards, we built a courtesy bar that lasted a fortnight. We put it up about 6 feet long, and we put a stewardess behind there, and every contestant got a half a beer or a single spirit and a mixer, just to take the edge off, right? And it was always supervised. But this particular night, this stewardess had pissed off home, right? So the two lads from Belfast had gone off, with, having won £20, walked off, and behind the dartboard had seen this bar with the gate open, and they're from Belfast, so they know they can walk through it. And they walk in, and they see the optics. They try the blue stuff, the red. Try that. So for 20 minutes, they're drinking for Ireland. And I go round the back, and they're completely wrecked all over the bar. Smashed. So I said, come on, lads, you're on. They said, where's Dusty been? They're not. But we can't replace them, so we've got to get them sobered up. So we get them coffees and straighten the bits and bobs, put them behind the screen again. Right, ready? Harris is up there. He said, get them bloody sorted out. They're pissed out of their fucking heads. So, right, back, QJ, boom. Welcome, Patrick and Shepard from Belfast. Boom, boom. On they come, these guys. I've never seen two men before or since in my life as pissed and still remain mobile. They were like this. And I could hear the director saying to the cameramen, just get their heads. So they come back and they're leaning on the podium thing, you know. They have no idea where they are. I said, welcome back, lads. He said, no problem, Ted. I said, how much have you won? He said, what? What? I said, how much did you win? Won? I said, earlier, we're playing the game, throwing, no, nothing. I said, you did? No, we didn't. I said, you did? No, we won nothing. I said, I took him to one side. I said, you fucking did. He says, yes, we did. How much did you win? Oh. I said, have a look in your pocket. So the one guy went, and he pulled out these two tenors. Oh, £20. Yes. I said, now, would you like to gamble the £20 that you've won for tonight's star prize, which is hiding behind bully? You need 101 or more, non-dart player to go first, to win the prize. Now, for those of you who are into accountancy, you will realise it's very much a no-lose situation for them, because the £20 they're gambling was ours half an hour ago, and I'm asking them to gamble £20 of what was our money for our car. So it's very much a have-a-go time, isn't it? So I said, would you like to gamble? You need 101 or more. And I started to walk to the board. And the one guy said, just a minute. I said, what? Yeah, just a minute, don't rush. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They're talking to one another and saying, what do you think? I'm saying, what do you think? And the one said, they don't know we've had all that drink, you know. We stuffed them on the bar. And we got £20. I think we keep the money. I said, what? He turned back and said, we've had a lovely day. So we'll keep the money. So suddenly, we've no show. Nobody wants the bloody car. It's like tearing the last page out of a book. Bullseye was all about, look at what you could have won, you prat. Didn't it? That was what it's about. And nobody gave a toss about the car. We couldn't transmit that. You couldn't watch that at home and say, oh, what a load of bollocks that was. Nobody did give it. So I'm knackered. I were all right. I said, right, leave it. Harris comes down. He says, what's the bloody game, he said. And he goes to these two, why won't you gamble? It's a lovely prize, brum, brum, behind there. It's a nice prize. You love it, brum, brum, behind there. Because we're not allowed to tell them what it is, you see. Why won't you, well, we had a lovely, don't give me that lovely day. He said, if you don't gamble, he said, I have no bloody show, so I want you to piss it and gamble. You can stick the show up your arse. And they walked out, right? Harris walked out after them. I walked out after Harris. I certainly wouldn't have walked out in front of Harris. And as I got out of the back, Harris has got him in a corner. Lovely guy, this Harris, by the way. He said, listen, lads, he said, I'm sorry, I'll get cross. He said, here's another £20. So he took £20 out of his pocket. Here's another £20, and he put it in the top pocket. Keep that £20 I'm giving you now, but gamble that £20 that you won. And they said, that sounds all right. I'm thinking, who's bloody crackers here, you know? Eh? So we do it. I don't know where, so I'm back to my place, right? The two Irish lads go off around the back, the researcher section. Peter goes back upstairs, moves his freezers, gets his eyeshadow right. Ready, boys? Here we go. Cue Jim. Welcome back, Patrick and Seamus from Belfast. The two guys come on, marginally more sober this time, right? I'm thinking, we're all right here. Welcome back, lads. No problem, Jim. I thought they've got the name right. We're there. I said, how much have you won, lads? £40. Oh! No. No. No, it's 20. No, it's £40. The woofter gave us another 20 round the back. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop it. Can't do that. You can't transmit that. Stop it. I said, just go off, come on again, and just say £20. Right. This is absolutely true. So I'm off. Harris is up there, and I said, it's fine. It's cute. Smacking. Cue Jim. Welcome. So they come back, they stand there. Welcome back, lads. No problem, Jim. I said, now then, how much money did you... Jim, we won £20. Oh, yes. I said, now then, would you like to get... You need 100? The one said, we want no more questions. Because we don't do questions. We know what we've got to do to win whatever's behind that board there with whatever we've got here. We need 101 or more. And the non-dart player goes first. And whatever I don't get, he's got to get between us. Whatever we've got, you've got, need for us both to win, whatever it is behind. I thought, well, I'll buy that. So the geography of the last 2 minutes of bullseye, and the ending's a bit naughty, I make no apology for it. There's the dartboard. I'm standing here with the dart player, who still thinks he's on 3-2-1. The non-dart player's there to throw the darts. This is absolutely true there. And Tony Green's there. This guy's still well under the weather. Tony says, here we go, take your time, nice and easy, pump, 101 or more with 6 darts. Off you go. First dart. Treble 19. Greenie said, it's a lot, is that? 57. Suddenly, the chemistry in the whole studio changes because a ruptured gerbil can get 44 with 5 darts, can't they? So they're going to win the car. So Harris is up there, start the pissing car, they're going to win the car. Get ready to drive that car out. We're there. He doesn't know what he's thrown, this guy. The guy next to me is still thinking about a poem. Right? He throws a second dart. It's absolutely true. Treble 19 again. Right next to 114. They've won the car. Greenie speaks. I said, shout the score out, you prat. So he just went in, and all he did, yes, because the camera had gone right in and got the 2 darts in the bed. Everybody's cheering, the band start playing, the car comes out, the audience is cheering, and the camera comes right into the dart player, who shouts at the top of his voice, why can't I throw some fucking darts then? We lost. We lost the car because they won it. We lost all the prizes because they won them. We lost the show because we couldn't get the F word out of the middle of a sentence. The producer went straight. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely marvellous. Thank you very much indeed for coming. You've been absolutely brilliant. Thank you.